You're listening to the Trade Show Insights Podcast, Season 11, Episode 5. I'm your host and exhibit marketing strategist, Marlis Arnold, bringing you tools to improve your exhibit results. On today's Earth Day episode of Trade Show Insights, brought to you by the Exhibit Marketers Cafe, we're talking about going green with exhibit displays. And we're going to bust a few myths while we're at it, too. Our guest today is Matt Wish, who is the marketing director for Ecosystems. He started in the industry as an account executive at a small exhibit house in Michigan, where he was an Ecosystems distributor. His main roles at the company are maintaining relationships with distributors as well as handling internal marketing. And I've known Matt for several years, so I know he's a real people person, and he enjoys being able to travel across the country so that he can connect with his clients and industry contacts in person. So I'm very happy to have you here today, Matt, for our very special Earth Day episode.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Marlis. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. Well, let's start out a little bit for our listeners who aren't familiar with Ecosystems. Can you give us a little bit of history about the company and why the company was launched in the first place? Because, I mean, traditionally, the trade show industry is not exactly considered green overall. We've bad reputation for not being very environmental. So I think it's very cool to have a company that really understands green. So I'll let you give us some background.
Well, thanks, Marlis. Ecosystems was started about just over 8 years ago, and really it was started for the exact reason that you just mentioned. We saw quite a bit of waste within the industry, and our goal was to partner with the industry and partner with the exhibit houses to offer a green alternative and some more renewable and recycled and recyclable options. It certainly was a team effort, and we really were attempting to, like I said, make some steps in that direction and not necessarily revolutionize the industry, but just to offer a green option.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, one of the things that exhibitors often believe is that it's too expensive to go green. It costs too much. And that's really not true anymore, is it?
No, it's not true. The technology has really been improving in terms of LED lighting and some of the materials that we're able to source. We partner with Classic Exhibits in Portland, Oregon to do our manufacturing, which has been fantastic because Classic has a way to recycle aluminum very efficiently and effectively, and we're fortunate enough to have access to that material. So material costs have definitely gone down, and part of my job is traveling around the country, meeting with our distributors. Ecosystems, as a manufacturer of exhibits and designer, only sells to exhibit houses. So we don't work unless the distributors have jobs coming in. So part of my mission is to help educate and inform the distributors and the account executives on green materials. And oftentimes the first question that I get is, well, okay, Matt, it sounds like a great product, but we're sure it costs more. And that stigma started, right during the initial green revolution. Electric cars and certain materials did cost more. So Ecosystems kind of behind the scenes has found ways to source materials, change our margins, and work with our strategic partners in order to bring costs down. So Ecosystems is selling a premium, portable, custom modular product, but within our segment of the industry, we're able to remain very competitive.
Well, and it doesn't look different. I think people think that too. It's like, well, if I'm going to go with a green booth, it's going to have that, kind of stigmatized look to it. But they really honestly look just as nice as any other portable modular or custom booth out there.
Thank you. That's something that we strive for from the beginning. In fact, most of the distributors that we work with, and I would say probably 90 to 95% of our distributors will comment that they really are buying us because of our design and our service, which we strive for as kind of the three excellent pillars that we strive for: design, service, and then eco-friendliness. So the eco-friendly part, there's definitely a market for it, but a lot of our distributors kind of buy us for the design, and they give themselves a pat on the back at the end of the day because the product that they put out there is a little bit better for the entire world.
True. And I think that's really been the key, is that you're not trying to be different. You're just trying to improve on, existing materials and things that were out there, and you're making them better and more environmentally friendly. So let's talk about, let's kind of break it down into some of the different elements, some of the things, because I think a lot of times exhibitors maybe they want to go green, but other than, some of the obvious things like switching to LED lights or, getting materials that can actually be recycled at the end of a show or something, because typically it's been, the whole build and burn concept and, and leaving all the piles of trash behind at the end of the show. I think most exhibitors are conscious of that fact and trying to get away from that, but they probably have never thought on the level of a lot of the different kinds of materials that you guys use in your exhibits. So kind of give us some ideas of some of the different types of materials and things that do go into an ecosystems exhibit.
Absolutely. So I think the real all-star of our material lineup is the recycled aluminum extrusion. Mm-hmm. And I say that for two reasons. For one, the recycled aluminum obviously is a huge impact, a huge player for the green movement. Being able to recycle the main structure that this exhibit is constructed out of is awesome from a green perspective. Mm-hmm. The silver lining is that when you use recycled aluminum, we found this kind of after the fact, after doing some experimentation, that the recycled aluminum is significantly stronger than virgin aluminum. And so we were able to bend it and curve it in different ways that maybe some of our competitors aren't able to, just because of the rigidity that the recycled aluminum offers. So from a design perspective, it really opened up a lot of doors for our two designers to really experiment and play around with some cool curves and bends. So the recycled aluminum is by far the all-star. And I will say that any recycled or green material that we're using can be substituted out for a standard material, except the aluminum. So all of our exhibits are going to feature the recycled aluminum. We're using a lot of LED lighting now. The cost on LEDs has gone way down over the past few years.
Oh, definitely.
They're safer. They don't get hot. They can't start a fire. They'll last forever. And we've even found ways to source all kinds of colors and light spectrums. So being ahead on the LED curve has really served us well from a design standpoint and also from a green standpoint. And then moving on, in the past we had used, you mentioned when we were talking earlier, some of the bamboo and sorghum wood. Those are still an option for us to use. But really we see that one as more of a design element. When the requests come in, people will request a bamboo finish because they like the look of it. So we're still pretty much using a lot of laminate, countertops and wood construction, but fortunately our wood is FSC certified, which is the Forest Sustainability Council. So it's all been harvested and farmed responsibly and sustainably, and we can guarantee that too.
Great. Well, and I know you're doing some cool things with fabric as well.
We do. So one of the cool products that we offer is we call it Paradise Fabric. And I don't know the exact science behind it because it's very intense, but they'll take water bottles and soda bottles, basically grind them down into like a powder, and then they can weave a fiber out. And so from there, we actually have a dye sub printed fabric graphic that Optima prints for us with completely recycled soda bottles. That's what the fabric is made out of. So it's a great product. It looks amazing. The quality is fantastic. There's only one downside really, it's that we can't backlight it just because of the thickness of the fiber. So if you're looking for the backlighting, we just swap it out for a traditional backlit graphic. But otherwise, the Paradise is a phenomenal option.
Yeah, and I think that's so awesome. On a personal note, last year when my husband and I bought our house, we had to recarpet the whole thing. Our entire carpet is made from recycled soda bottles, and it is so soft and so plush. It's just amazing what they could do with plastic soda bottles.
It is cool. A lot of times people will think when I mention that it's made out of soda bottles that it almost looks like a paper, or that it'll be crunchy or be able to rip. But in reality, it's very soft and it's very flexible, and it's got a really nice kind of shine to it.
Well, and like you said, other than the fact it can't be backlit, most people probably would never know the difference between that and any other kind of fabric. I mean, just feeling.
They wouldn't. Exactly. We did some backlighting on our own exhibitor booth this year, and so we had a Paradise graphic on one side and a backlit graphic on the other side, and when you walked past it, you would not notice the difference at all. So very, very seamlessly, they play very nice together.
And I think that comes back to the whole thing, too, of, a few years ago, like, say, 5 years ago, or definitely even longer than that, the green elements did have that kind of different look. They didn't blend in, like you said, as seamlessly to a design. So I think that, the technology that's advanced in just the last couple of years has really made a huge difference in how standardized the green elements can be.
Absolutely. And at Ecosystems, we've taken a very practical approach to green because we do understand the industry. We come from the industry. We know that realistically, we're not going to go down a checklist and make 800 different points, and just be completely unrealistic about our approach to make it perfectly green. So the feedback that we receive has been really positive in the way that we go about doing green, where it's our mission statement and it's our company vision, but realistically we go about it as we want to partner with an exhibit house, get them the design, get them the product that they're looking for, and kind of from the back end, that's when we start adding the green pieces that fit in really nicely.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of green pieces, you even have one that probably most exhibitors would never think about, and that is the cases themselves.
Yes, absolutely. So the regrind one-way shippers and the rollable flat packs, those are made from recycled plastic materials as well. And our wood crates, as I mentioned before, are all FSC certified. So we even try and be as green as we can just with our shipping and packaging materials.
And I think that's awesome, too, because, like I said, that's one of those details that probably most exhibitors would never even think about, that was an option to be able to have recycled or recyclable cases. So, especially for a company that is really into the environmental movement or something, they don't have to feel like they're being hypocritical when they go get an exhibit. I mean, now they can get all of these different elements and really feel like they're supporting their corporate mission.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised. I get the question quite frequently, well, what types of companies are buying from Ecosystems through the distributors? And it's, the stigma out there is that, it's probably a lot of organic, ecologically minded type companies. But in reality, we've built booths for a huge array of corporate, major international brands. And I've had interest lately from financial institutions, banks, to insurance companies. And the cool thing is that, even though they're in an industry that's not necessarily geared toward being green, these corporate cultures are starting to come around to incentivizing their staff and employees and having a very green mission. And so we fit right in with what they're doing. It's been fantastic.
That's awesome. I think it really is true that more and more people are being more conscious of the options that are out there and the availability of the green, the different steps that they can take, easy steps even, that they could take to go more green. So what do you see as far as trends, and where is the green movement going as far as exhibiting? Do you see some new materials or new concepts on the horizon?
Absolutely. This green movement within the trade show industry is only going to get better. It's only going to continue moving further into the future. And thankfully, we get to partner with exhibit houses who give us so much feedback. And so we're able to take that as we're developing new products. Like I mentioned before, we partner with Classic Exhibits as our manufacturing partner. So we're fortunate to be able to bounce ideas back and forth between us, and they're also a very eco-friendly minded company, and so together we're able to innovate new products, that are more green. So it's exciting. The future is really exciting for green exhibiting.
Very cool. So any kind of insider information you can give us? Any trends that maybe new materials you guys are working on or anything right now?
Yeah. So we have a product called EcoBoard, and it's basically a rigid printed graphic that we're right now in the process of kind of re-looking at it, re-examining it. It's made out of recycled post-consumer content, so it's as it stands right now, it's very eco-friendly. But we've noticed that if you laminate it, it helps the graphic kind of bind. It helps the water-based inks that we use bind to the material better for a better look. But the lamination process definitely takes away some of the eco-friendly properties and chemically speaking.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're really working hard on now is finding a new rigid substrate that will hold the graphic print without having to add the less eco-friendly laminate coating to the top.
So that's still in the works then? Or still
That's
in the investigation stage?
Yes, that's in the works. And I think I mentioned before we partner with Optima Graphics, who have been phenomenal partners for our graphic printing. They are also helping us develop new substrates and materials, and we're thankful for them too, because they're able to stock it at their plant, at their facility, so that we can continue operating very quickly.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, it's smart that you've partnered with manufacturers that can really support you, that you can focus on the mission of making the exhibits more green, and then you can team up with those who can actually make the product. So I think you guys are in a really sweet spot right now. And like you said, I think the green trend is just going to keep growing and growing. So as exhibitors are listening to this and, they're really intrigued and, maybe they had no idea that this option was out there, how do they go about finding, because like you said, it's all sold through distributors. They can't just call you and order direct, but what's the best way for them to get to kind of see some examples and figure out what their next step needs to be, who they need to contact?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I am always available. I enjoy talking with the end user clients and the customers. I like hearing from them. So by all means, it's absolutely fine to give me a call or send me an email. But that being said, I will gently introduce you to a distributor in your area. So I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, you can hop on www.ecosystemsdisplays.com. And you're able to kind of look through the gallery images, browse the different sizes, read up on some of the different materials, check out some designs, and the pricing that you see there is our suggested retail price. So it may not be the final pricing at the end of the day, but you're able to get an idea as an end user, what type of budget that you're looking for. Also, talk with your current exhibit house, your exhibit professionals. And if they know of us and they work with us, great. If they don't, just request it. Have them get in touch with me, and we can set them up as a distributor and get you pointed in the right direction.
Great. Well, thank you, Matt. I really appreciate you taking time to be our special guest for Earth Day and to kind of give us some insights as to how, exhibiting green is not as difficult as it used to be.
It certainly isn't. We're making it, my goal, and as we're wrapping up here, I like this illustration. You know, as a kid, we had, I think, 3 or 4 different recycling bins in our house, and one was for plastic, and one was for paper, and one was for this. And me being the oldest son, it was my responsibility to take the trash out every week. So I think a few plastic bottles may have ended up in the trash, but nowadays we all have one bin that you just throw it all into, and it gets magically sorted and recycled. So making it easy, making it one very easy process has really innovated in that realm, and we found that making it a really easy, seamless process for our customers has made it a no-brainer for them to go green. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and happy Earth Day.
Same to you, Matt. And thank you for that analogy. It's true. It really is a lot easier to go green. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, subscribe to the Trade Show Insights podcast and automatically receive future episodes on your chosen device. Simply click on the Trade Show Insights logo in the sidebar at tradeshowinsights.com, and you'll find instructions for Apple, Android, and more. Trade Show Insights is protected by the Creative Commons copyright license. You may feel free to share this recording with colleagues or embed it on your own blog as long as it's shared in its entirety and is not used for commercial purposes. To learn more, please see the link in the sidebar of the show notes at tradeshowinsights.com. Well, that's it for this episode of Trade Show Insights. Be sure to check out our show notes and archives at tradeshowinsights.com. You can also connect with me using the social media links or the contact page on the site. I'm Marlis Arnold. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for more tools to improve your exhibit results.